Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video we'll show you how to cure corned beef at home simply in a vacuum pack or a Ziploc bag in the fridge where it won't take up too much room, and then secondly, once you've got a really tasty cured product, how to turn it into a delicious pie with vegetables, which is a wholemeal pie.
Hello, and let's see our first step to our corned beef pie, and that's making our corned beef. So we've got 547 grams of brisket, which I got at Lely, simply because I just don't have the storage space for a full slab of brisket from Costco, Sam's or Chef's Store. I do a dry rub cure, and we'll show you how that works in a minute using a vac pack bag. To the right is the cure, which is salt, sugar, pink curing salt, which I'm using just to keep colour. Yes, I know it's supposed to be toxic, but even though we're not going to smoke this, I think it's a good idea to use it. And my spice grind mix, which in this case is juniper berries, black pepper, and a little bit of cloves. I have a special coffee grinder that I use, electric coffee grinder, that I use solely for grinding spices, and that's how we grind these. So we'll show you how we mix the spices up, then dry rub the brisket and pop it in a vac pack bag.
I have a little calculator that I use for the proportions I need of salt, sugar and Prague powder number 1, in this case pink curing salt, for curing meats, specifically for bacon. Anything you're going to smoke, and I put some Prague powder in this because I wasn't sure if I was going to smoke it or not. I decided not, but you can do this in Excel. I just keep this, it's easy to rack up. You enter the weight of the meat in grams or ounces if you choose to weigh that way. Just please note though, in column D you would enter the salt as a number, as 0.025, the sugar as 0.01, and the Prague powder as 0.0025. This works for me with most things, and honestly there may be some scientific discussion on whether nitrites and nitrates really do or do not cause cancer, or are precursors to cancer, or possible precursors to cancer. But the one thing I will tell you is that botulism, if you get it, will almost certainly do you in or leave you in a very sad place. So nitrates or nitrites are probably something you should be very well educated about, and that honestly is not the vision of this video. I may do one on it, but please educate yourself.
Okay, so here's our brisket with the dry rub rubbed in, and what's left we will pour into the vac pack bag. Just try and rub every surface, get a good even coating. I will put up a picture of my Excel spreadsheet with the proportions of the salt, sugar and pink curing salt that I use in my dry curing rub, and if you want to reproduce it in a spreadsheet or a calculator, you're more than welcome. This is exactly the same cure I use for making bacon, although obviously the spice and herb rub component changes, but the sugar, salt and pink curing salt does not. So I'll show you when this is all packed up in the vac bag, then it's into the fridge for 7 days. So here we are in the vacuum pack bag, all the extra cure and spice scraped in there. It'll all mix through in a week. All you have to do is pop this in the fridge now and turn it once a day. If you don't have a vac packer, you can use a Ziploc bag and suck all the air out with a straw. Takes up much less fridge space than trying to wet cure stuff in a brine, and has always worked well for me. Let's see this again in 7 days. So here's how our corned beef, now corned, looks after having been in a vacuum bag in the fridge for a week, turned every day with its curing mix. Find using vacuum bags much simpler for curing meats and similar Also for ferments, just because they take up a lot less room than having to mix up a big tub of wet brine. Now we'll get it out of the bag, rinsed off, and we'll soak it in some cold water for a few minutes before we cook it. First things first, a quick rinse to get all the curing salts and excess spices that's still stuck to the beef off. Don't have to go mad at this stage because we're going to soak it for about 20 minutes. Make sure we've got all the excess salts and cure out of the meat. And now we're just going to soak the corned beef in some clean water for 15 or 20 minutes before we cook it. That should be plenty. Okay, so here's our pie crust filled with our corned beef, potato, carrot, shallot and mushroom mixture. Be a wholemeal pie. We'll get the top on and pop it into the Anova Precision Oven to bake up. Here's the pie ready to pop into the Anova Precision Oven. I'm trying 25 minutes at 375. First try with this recipe, so we'll see it works out. Little egg wash on the top of the pastry and a little bit of Korean sea salt just to add a little bit of texture on the top of the pastry. We'll see how this works out. Be back with you shortly. So here's our pie in the Anova Precision Oven. We'll keep our eye on it to make sure the top doesn't over brown and pull it out when it looks to be done if it gets done before the timer runs out. Okay, here's the pie as it came out of the Anova Precision Oven. We did alter our cooking temps and times a bit. Knocked the cooking temp down to 350, extended the cooking time to 350. Top wasn't as browned as I would have liked, so we added another 10 minutes at 375, and this is how it is. Looks great. We're going to let it cool on the rack, and half of this pie is going to be my dinner tonight, so we'll let you see what it looks like in a little bit. Okay, so here's our home cured corned beef, potato, carrot, shallot and mushroom pie turned out on a plate. I think it has a beautiful rustic look with the way we've curled the pastry up around the sides. I'll be trying half of this for my dinner tonight. It's a wholemeal pie. I expect it to taste good, but we'll let you know. So here's the cut pie, and it's delicious. The sous chef, who's already tasted some, says it's sweet, but she doesn't care for the salt on the crust, so maybe we won't do that again. But this looks good. It'll be my dinner. I think you wouldn't hurt yourself by giving this a try, particularly if you wanted to learn how to corn beef. And it does taste different than anything you'll buy in the store, trust me. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it. And if you enjoy our series of videos, you might think about subscribing to the channel. It really does make a difference to us. After rinsing and soaking in water, the braising liquid in this case was a cup of my homemade dashi. Please see the video on beef and daikon for details on that. Half a cup of our very gelatinous stock and half a cup of a dry marsala. We had bay leaves and some thyme from the garden too. Cooked up really well, helped the umami flavour. I will tell you, if I had this to do over, although we cooked the vegetables in some of the braising liquid to soften them and add flavour, I would have retained the braising liquid and probably thickened it up to form a bit of gravy for reheating the stock. This pie was incredibly delicious, but it's also extremely filling, by the way. 10-inch pie, I can only eat a quarter at one sitting, and that fills me up. If pressed, by the way, I can eat, so just take that as a guide. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and share with your friends. The more people we can get to the channel is a great help to us. We appreciate your time and thank you.